Morning, happy coffee talk. It's Saturday morning. Felt like doing coffee talk today. I was up early, did some pull-ups, did some just quiet time, just some sitting. And you're like, hey, what are you talking about? You did pull-ups. I have one of those pull-up bars that go in my bedroom. So I made my bed and did a little bit of laundry. And then I was like, you know what? What better way to start a Saturday than with pull-ups? And P.S. I have a sty in my eye, which is this huge bummer because when they start and you're waiting for them to get noticeable, so you can just feel it. That's where I'm at right now. But probably tomorrow it's going to be noticeable and I'm going to be that girl that has the swollen eye. So that's my Saturday. Drinking this awesome cup of coffee right now in my Black Rifle. It's Black Rifle coffee in this really cool mug I got from Annapolis Pottery. And I wanted to share a reflection about the scale for Coffee Talk message this morning. I don't get on the scale every day anymore. I get on the scale once or twice a week just to kind of check in. It doesn't bother me. And so I get on just to see where I'm at, especially because I know my weight fluctuates and I'm at a weight that I feel comfortable and confident and happy at. So I'm not trying to lose or gain weight. I just want to stay where I'm at right now. And so I get on once or twice a week and just take note and then move on. I have an app on my phone. It's called Happy Scale. If you've ever used this, if you're trying to lose weight, this is a really great app for you. I don't get anything by telling you about it, but essentially it focuses more on trends than it does on the today number. So it'll say, you're trending in this direction, you're trending in that direction. But it's not necessarily it doesn't hide the number from you, but it focuses less on the day-to-day and more on the trend. So anyways, I put my weight in there sometimes just to kind of keep track. And then outside of that, I don't worry about it. But I was remembering a time in my life on Saturday mornings when I used to go to Weight Watchers meetings. And I always positioned them on Saturday on purpose because that would mean that Friday night I would avoid doing food. I would avoid food on Friday night. And then that felt like I was making progress on my weekend also. I joined Weight Watchers a couple of times in my 20s, and I mostly joined Weight Watchers because I'd seen my mom do it a handful of times, and I thought, this must be how you lose weight. And when I graduated college, I was probably about 10 pounds overweight. So that was my first time doing Weight Watchers. And I followed the point system religiously. I did not eat very well. I would eat, Weight Watchers ice cream sandwiches, Weight Watchers cupcakes, Weight Watchers bread. That's what I ate. I just made it fit the points. I lost weight and I did endless cardio. And then I joined another time after I had my first son, same game. So I joined, I didn't really want to, I didn't love it. But I played the points game, did lots and lots and lots of cardio and the weight came off. But I remember what it felt like going and I'm not knocking Weight Watchers. There are positives and negatives about many seasons of my life, and that's one of them. But I wanted to share, I'm specifically wanting to talk about the scale on this message because it was such a predominant thing in that season. So, I did lose the weight because I was obsessive about it, and I was obsessive about the scale. I would get on the scale multiple times a day. I would manipulate my food on Fridays so that I could go in and weigh in on Saturdays and be down. And because I wanted that, accolade, because the way that Weight Watchers works, if you've never been there, is you weigh in, or at least this is the way it used to work. When I did it, is that after you signed up and you weighed in, you got a little booklet and they put your weight on there. And then each week you would go back and they would weigh you in. Everybody stands in line, by the way, to get on the scale. And then some Weight Watchers leader reads it to you and says, okay, you're down 0.2, and they would write it in your book. I'm sure right now it's in an app. But they write it in your book and then you go sit down and you do the meeting. Sometimes people just did the weigh-ins. But most of the time people sat around and listened and did the meeting. And so that number on the scale, that weigh-in became the everything that I focused on. It didn't matter what I was eating as long as that number on the scale was winning. And if it went in the wrong direction, It would ruin my week. If there were things that I was doing like strength training or drinking water that like made the scale go up, I wouldn't do them. And it became this obsession with the scale. And I joined Weight Watchers another time, maybe this after my second son. I think I joined it actually twice. I joined it once, tried to get going with it, quit, went back, joined it again. And I was like, I'm going to do it. Tried to get going with it. And I couldn't do it. I was only obsessing with the scale, refusing to make any other changes. I couldn't be as strict and insane about my food as I had been when I didn't have kids. You know, I first got out of the Navy. And also when, you know, my first son, I just obsessed about it. This time, one, my body didn't respond. And two, I just couldn't do it. I just kept failing. I would try to do it and then I would go back to eating what I wanted to eat, or I would go over my points and then I would be under my points. And it was just this never ending up and down. But the scale obsession stayed the same. The obsession with get on the scale multiple times a day. Did it move? Did it go up? Did it go down? Could I manipulate it the night before so that I could get on and get those like yay points? It just wasn't a healthy way to address a problem. And the problem wasn't the scale. That was just a measurement of the problem. The problem was an unhealthy lifestyle and a mental attachment to a transaction of I am going to eat less and I want to weigh less, and I'm going to eat less and I want to weigh less. But I didn't change anything about how I took care of myself. And the thing is that the scale is a measurement tool for one metric of your overall health and wellness. The scale measures your body mass. That's what it's measuring. And depending on your height and how much muscle you have, that measurement can give you information about your body, right? How much body fat do you have is really your muscle. You take that away, and then whatever's left on the scale outside of your muscle and bones, that's your body fat, right? And so if your muscle and bones are staying kind of the same, but the scale goes up, then you can kind of say, okay, and it's going up for a long time. Well, you're putting on body fat, right? So we are using the scale not because it's magical, but because it's a reflection of something about our bodies. And we've been taught since we were little, most of us, especially women, that there's an appropriate number on the scale. So I remember the very first time that I even gave a crap about the scale was when we would go out to dinner at my grandparents' house. There was this place called the Ground Round, and it was in Michigan. And they did this thing on Tuesdays where for kids, your body weight was the price of your dinner. Now, in theory, that sounds like a great idea because you're like 72 pounds. Well, yay, dinner's 72 cents. I mean, this is just like a interesting way to give kids free meals, which a lot of restaurants do. But I was probably 10, 11, 12, where all of a sudden it mattered to me that everyone made a big deal that my meal was now over $1 because I was over 100 pounds. I mean, I was a kid. I was a little kid. But I just remember that being a thing of, oh my gosh, I am the heavy one, and who knows if I was heavy. I probably wasn't heavy at all. I was probably just regular sized kid, but I was taught very early, okay, that's how much we're not supposed to weigh a lot. And then you start to hear about women who weigh, 100 pounds their whole life. And I'm not talking about like tiny women, like short, petite. I'm talking about just women. That's what you're supposed to weigh, like 115. Ooh, yay. But I was never that weight. As soon as I hit puberty, that I went way past that. And so the scale was always this thing where I felt like I should be at some number. And most women that I know, even now in Fit Me and as we coach, they still have those numbers that they should be at. And we sometimes even let go of original hope on certain numbers and just say, well, if I could just get back to this number, I would at least be happy there. If I could just get back to this number, I would at least be happy there. So we even give up on that original number that we dream of and instead pick new numbers. But remember that the scale is just one of many measurements of your overall health and wellness and how you're taking care of yourself. Because here's the thing, if you're not taking care of yourself very well, if you eat junk food all the time, you overeat, you drink too much, you don't sleep, and you don't exercise, you're going to put on body fat. And then that body fat is going to be measured on the scale. And it's also going to be measured in how your clothes fit. It's also going to be measured in your blood markers. There's a whole bunch of ways it's going to be measured, but we really attach it to the scale. But remember that the problem isn't the scale. And that's what I wanted to tell you about with Weight Watchers. With Weight Watchers, I was obsessing with the scale. Ironically, that's the name of it. Watch your weight. Weight Watchers. I watched my weight. I was obsessive about it, and I didn't care about the things that I actually needed to change in order to take better care of myself. All I cared about was if that scale number went down. The problem with that is that as soon as you stop manipulating those numbers, as soon as you stop obsessing over it, as soon as you stop beating yourself up constantly, well, then you gain the weight back because nothing has changed. And that's what my story was, right? Like I lost the weight, gained it back, lost the weight, gained it back, lost the weight, gained it back. I was creating this yo-yo. And so at the beginning of this podcast, when I was telling you, oh, I lost the weight, you were probably like, maybe I should join Weight Watchers. No, I gained it back. I did zippity zero to change my life. All I did was manipulate those numbers and eat the same processed junk food, except the Weight Watchers brand version of it. And I obsessed over the scale. I manipulated the numbers. I would skip dinners. I would skip water. There was just no actual changes to my lifestyle. And so as soon as I stopped doing that, it would come back. And I'm sure you could insert something else into that story that's not Weight Watchers and say, yep, I did that exact same thing because I was just trying to get the scale to go down, and that's all I wanted to do, and I was willing to do it in any way that was necessary. And so it wasn't until I changed I addressed the actual problem that once I lost weight, it stayed off permanently. And so one of the things that we do, actually the primary thing we do in Fit Me, is we address those foundational things that need to change so that when weight loss happens, it is stable. It's not just something that happens for a little bit and then you manipulate it and then it goes right back. We're changing those foundational eating patterns. So you are eating differently. You're eating vegetables with meals. You're eating protein. You're eating at home more often. You're drinking less. You're drinking more water. You're exercising. You're walking. You're doing strength training. You are limiting sugar. I just listed for you all of the things that you need to do to lose weight forever. Everything that I just said, that is the recipe. And yeah, make sure your portion sizes are reasonable. That's it. That's how you do it. And so I didn't start to see real change until I started addressing the problem, until I started looking at, okay, well, how do I eat less fast food? Well, I got to eat at home. I don't know what to cook at home. So what am I going to learn how to cook? Okay, so let me try to cook some things. Okay, so then I was starting to move in the right direction. Okay, so I eat sugar all the time. I'm going to stop eating sugar all the time. What can I eat instead? I feel snacky. Like, what's a decent snack? That was addressing the problem. It wasn't like somebody just snapped their fingers and gave me the meal plan or like, here, substitute this Weight Watchers cupcake for your old crappy snack. I started looking at, well, what is a good snack? What would be satisfying and filling and actually take the edge off my hunger that isn't sugar? Or chips, or sun chips. I used to eat sun chips constantly. So what could I eat? In addressing that problem was how I started to create sustainable solutions. And it was like, well, I could do cardio and join this cardio class that I didn't like, that I didn't want to do, or I could start finding exercise that I enjoyed and start to do that. So I found CrossFit and I found a boot camp class and I enjoyed it. It was hard. It wasn't easy, but it was fun for me. I enjoyed it. So I started going to it regularly. That was addressing a problem with my lifestyle. I found exercise that I could at least tolerate and I did enjoy, and I started doing it. Instead of hoping that I would do like a strength program, for 2 days that I had bought off of the internet, I just started doing strength training with a trainer. I paid a trainer money and he made me lift weights. I addressed the problem. The problem was that I kept quitting the programs that were too hard and that I didn't know how to do them, and that I wasn't really like motivated to do at home. And I hired a personal trainer who made me do strength training. The end. I addressed the problem. Instead of drinking diet soda all day and coffee with a bucket of coffee creamer, I just started drinking more water. I started carrying around a water jug and drinking it. It was like these were the solutions to the problem. And because of those solutions, I stopped obsessing about the scale. And I would use the scale, then I would get on the scale and I'd be like, oh, it's going down. Oh, it's going down. Oh, it's going down. And sometimes it would go up and sometimes it would go down, but I wasn't only focused on that. I was focused on those big changes that I was making. Go back to the gym, drink some more water, find some more protein to cook, figure out another way to cook a vegetable that you haven't before, prep a snack with you for the road trip so that you don't have to eat fast food. I just started doing those things. And then the obsession with the scale went away. And ironically, the scale started going down. And that is what most people find in Fit Me. When we coach you on focusing on the things that actually matter and stop focusing on the scale so much, then all of a sudden you can focus on the problem. You can start addressing the problem, create sustainable solutions. And oh, by the way, when you check in with the scale, if you have weight to lose, it's going down. And if it's not going down, then we will help you troubleshoot and figure out why it's not going down and make an adjustment. Again, a sustainable adjustment to what you're doing. And then, oh, now it's going down. So this is just like my little story from Weight Watchers and why that season of my life, although I would get the congratulations and the high fives from the ladies there, because, oh yay, I'd hit the 10-pound mark or whatever. I wasn't creating sustainable change, and the obsession with the scale wasn't good for me. And I'm not saying it's their fault. It was probably my fault, but I did not find long-term sustainable solutions by obsessing about the scale. And so if you're obsessing about the scale, you're obsessing about the wrong thing. I need you to switch your focus to the things that actually matter and then start solving those problems. You don't know what to cook? Let's solve that problem. You're addicted to sugar? Let's solve that problem. You need to start exercising more? Let's solve that problem. You don't know how to do strength training? Let's solve that problem. You drink too much crap? Let's start drinking water. Let's solve those problems to create the sustainable solutions. So that's my coffee talk message for this morning. If you are somebody who obsesses about the scale, just know you are not alone. You don't have to feel guilty about it. That's why I shared it with you, to know that you're not the only one. But just know that there is an escape. You don't have to stay there forever. And that if you want to start feeling different, then we just need to address the problems and not just the one measurement that reflects your overall lifestyle. And again, that's just one of many measurements. We don't put a huge emphasis on the scale in Fit Me because it can be so problematic, because maybe you're like me and got weighed in at, 10 years old for dinner or something, but or maybe your story around the scale was way worse. Mine was pretty mild, actually. So you probably have significantly more, problematic stories around the scale. But that is my coffee talk message for you. I mentioned it yesterday on the Coffee Talk episode, but we are going to start the next round of Fit Me Community Leader training in January. And so this is a personal development program for you if you are on your own journey, like you are still working on doing the things to take care of you. You might not be at your goal yet, or you might be far out from your goal, but you are someone who takes joy in helping other people, and you know that you would show up better for yourself if you are tied to helping other people. I want you to think about this as a network or a club for people who are making these changes for themselves, but who may want to share it with others. And again, there's no weird strings attached. You're not selling anything to anyone else. It's just learning to become a fit community leader. So a Fit Me community leader just means that you're on your own journey, but you are willing and wanting to help others along the way. And if that's you, I want you to shoot me an email at christy@fitmenutrition.com so we can have a discussion about it. It's a no strings attached discussion. I want to give you the details. I want to find out why you're interested. And our January group starts at the end of January. So once you start reaching out if that's something that you want to do. So thanks as always for plugging into Coffee Talk. If you haven't done so, subscribe to Fit Me Coffee Talk on your favorite podcast platform. And if you are not a part of our Facebook group yet, then come join us in the Fit Me Community Facebook group. And I hope to see you over there. Take care. Bye.